Hi, and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Resident Evil 6, a third-person shooter action horror game from Capcom. With me today, we have Sinister Dreamin', sup?
Yo,
And back is Impressions. How you go? How's
Hello.
goes it?
Goes all right.
All right, so Resident Evil 6 is technically the eighth game in the series because I count Zero and Veronica in the count. 6 is definitely a Resident Evil game in my opinion. It has the same, concepts,
Not my lucky day.
but how many of the Resident Evil games have you guys played other than 5? I know you both played that one.
me personally, I've only played two of the other Resident Evil games. One and I think it was Code Veronica.
I played 4 was my first, then 5, of course. And I also played Umbrella Chronicles. I don't know if you count that one.
Yeah, I do. It's a rail shooter.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Umbrella,
count it for what we talk about, which is the gameplay changes, but I count it as part of it covers 0 through 3, excluding 2. So
it was good in the sense that it filled in the blanks for someone like me who'd never played 1 for 3, 0 for 3.
yeah, if you're listening, I highly recommend playing Umbrella Chronicles and Dark Side Chronicles if you want to catch up on the series. It pretty much fills in everything.
In a time-effective manner.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna talk about the gameplay changes from the older Resident Evils, even 4 and 5, to that happens in 6. The first being you can now move and shoot. That is probably the biggest change.
Yeah, very definitely, because the fact that it's not a lot stop, aim, shoot, and then drop weapon and move.
Right. For me, I thought it was a good change just because of how the enemies worked. They're a lot faster, and if you had to stand still, that would have sucked.
Admittedly, I actually didn't notice that. Maybe it's because I was gravitating towards my playstyle in 5, but I found myself standing still and shooting anyways. What I would do, as far as any mechanics are concerned, is roll a lot. I do like that feature.
Yeah. Roll.
Combat roll or jump backwards to avoid some of the melees, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, I think I used that more than actually move and shoot, other than on
Yeah.
this campaign.
So I would definitely say that is a step up, or a step in the right direction as far as development in the game.
Right, and I mean the major complaint, at least for moving and shooting, and a lot of the changes, is like I said, we all have played at least one of the older ones, but it's a lot more ammo conservative and a lot more survival based, where you don't find a lot of health and ammo, whereas this one you find ammo and health all over the place. Do you guys like that change, or do you consider it kind of betraying what this series was?
Um, it's nice because considering, like, for me, I'm when I play, it's like I'm a crappy shot, so a lot of times it's like I'm wasting more bullets than anything. It's kind of nice to be able to find more ammo lying around and health, but also at the same time,
Just don't
it's
leave me behind.
pulling away from what Resident Evil was, where it's like you're trying to survive, trying to find what you need to get through where you're at.
I think it's also a commentary as far as the evolution of the series itself. I mean, as far as the story is concerned, the zombies that you encounter in 1 are a lot simpler, a lot slower, whereas, throughout the progression of the series, the virus develops, and therefore the type of zombies you encounter develops. And the tactics that you use in the older games wouldn't work on these types of zombies. So, if people are criticizing that it's different from the original Resident Evil, well, the zombies are different, so it's kind of like what are you complaining about? It's just a progression of a series.
Right, that's where I kind of stand, because I mean 4 in my opinion is still the best in the series, because it was able to kind of find that sweet spot with the survival horror and action horror and kind of get both in.
Because you're still by yourself.
Right, and I think that's what a lot, why it's gone the way it's gone, is because it added the co-op, which I'm okay with. I don't mind it. In 5 I thought it was terrible because the AI was stupid. I actually like it in 6. It's actually not that bad because I'm not reliant on the CPU. It's more there just to kind of do the parts that you have to throw your partner somewhere so they can do the other part of the level.
they can help out. Where in
Right.
5 it was a lot of, why are you doing that? Why are you wasting my the herbs? Why? This one, it's like, okay, you're gonna go off and go cover my flank while I go, charge head on into this.
They do save me a lot. Also, I remember dying a lot because my partner wouldn't go for me in 5. It's like, I cleared out an army to save you 5 minutes ago, but you can't stop me to save me from one zombie.
Yeah, I remember that. That's why I remember doing 5 professional mode with just the CPU. God, that was awful. Oh, I hated that. But in 6, at least I'm not reliant on my partner, which is, like I said, that's a bonus for me.
Yeah, it's nice.
The other change is to gameplay. At least the other major game change is the skill system. Instead of upgrading your guns, you buy skills.
Yeah, that was a nice change. It added a little, I call it a nice little tweak to the game, where it's like you said, instead of buying upgrades for your gun, you're buying upgrades for yourself. Like okay, being able to do more damage or do more critical damage, and you can actually build yourself to how you actually want to play.
Right.
Well, I actually have not purchased a single upgrade yet. So,
Oh, hipster, huh?
well, no, I'm not. I'm just curious. I think it's more because I didn't really feel like trying to figure out the system, even though I'm sure it's not that hard. But I just haven't gotten around to it. And when I did first look at it, I couldn't afford anything yet. So I was like, okay, well, I'll get back to that later. And I haven't yet. I'm sure I will when I notice that certain levels become ridiculously hard, and maybe that will make me.
Yeah, some of the, at least in Leon's campaign, the
Ugh.
main boss guy you had to fight, yeah, that would have sucked if I didn't have a damage reduction. Same with Jake, the one main bad guy that's always chasing him. Later on, you have to fight him a couple of times, and he's also good to have some damage reduction and firepower bonuses.
Should probably do that. Maybe that's why I'm always dying.
Yeah, I highly suggest getting the defense ones. Like I
Okay.
said, this is more of an. For those listening, I view this game as completely action horror. There's no survivability. However, in the beginning, it does take a little bit more skill to survive. But just get the defense tree or defense skill. Never have to worry about dying as much. Then you just have to worry about ammo conservation. But once again, that's easily avoidable with skills.
I hear that label a lot, action horror. For people like me who don't have the wider range of game, what else would you classify as action horror?
Other than Resident Evil 5?
Yeah.
Let's see. The only other action horror game I can think of is probably Silent Hill Homecoming.
Action. I mean,
For those who want to know what I mean by action horror, it has the gothic, the dark horror kind of environment. It's a lot darker. There's monsters that are either zombies or creatures from God knows where.
so
Where-
not like Fear or all those other.
Fear I
There's
would
like-
consider action horror.
Like
Fear I would
so,
consider.
so basically supernatural. Not super, I guess
Yeah,
supernatural.
dark supernatural kind of occurrences, but it's action based. Yeah, Fear's a good example of it. True survival horror are going to be early Resident Evils or early Silent Hill, Fatal Frame. Those are survivor horror.
Okay.
They scare the pants off me. Well, at least Fatal Frame, and you have to actually conserve and run. Whereas action horror, you don't need to do that. You just shoot things. Even Dead Space I consider action horror. So enough about action horror versus survivor horror. Obviously, Resident Evil 6 is action horror, like I said. People who want Resident Evil to go back to the old ways. I mean, I don't know what to say. It'd be nice if they did, but you gotta accept the game for what it is, which is action horror, and it's a fun game. It is enjoyable. So the next topic that I want to discuss is collectibles. Have you guys found all of them? Or found
No.
a whole lot?
Sorry, go on. Sinister.
Yeah, found a few. Figured out that, well, mainly figured out when playing with Roy doing the co-op that a lot of emblems you don't just get through one side. You have to play both characters in each story to find emblems.
Replayability.
Yeah, makes the game replayable.
6 times to be exact.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Technically, there's depending on what difficulty you start off with, there's that, and then you want to do professional, and then I heard they're gonna come out with DLC that adds another difficulty level that's harder than professional
Why? Okay.
because they want us to suffer in the hardest difficulty.
Just give us like here. You don't get a gun.
That's right. Just combat knife and stun rod, right?
Yeah, melee your way through the game.
Yeah. But anyway, collectibles for those who haven't played the game and have played Resident Evil 5. It's basically the same thing, except instead of the BSAA emblems, they're called Serpent emblems, I believe.
Isn't that what they had in 4?
No, 4 didn't have any collectibles that you shot. It had the little blue medallion things for the one gun, but it didn't have like true collectibles other than the figurines that you got from doing the gun range.
I mean, like all those random statues and gems that you find. That's not collectibles.
No, those are treasures.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
also different. There
okay,
is
that's
no
what I was
treasures in this
There's
game.
an old T-42 tank
They're
moving
gone.
on your position.
At least you have. I think they replaced it nicely then with the skill point system.
Yeah, that's
And
what.
it's like, oh, like I'll pick up systems. Oh, sorry, I'll pick up skill points instead of having to trade them in for the money and whatnot. Though it does make me sad that they took away the merchant.
They took him away in 5. He wasn't there in that one.
I forgot that, but I'm still sad that they took him away in 6.
But yeah, collectibles are all over the map. I think there's 4 in each level for each character. If you get a row or whatever, you get a figurine. They're kind of fun to collect, and every time you unlock one, you get some files that explain kind of the lore that's going into the game. So that was nice. Let's see. Another thing that I just remembered from playing co-op was the 4-player parts.
Ah, yes, the when you're playing co-op, that if you by chance you run into the other players in the story, you can do a minor scene.
I've only done the one where I mean it's the 4-player co-op section, but it wasn't with other people. It was just me, my CPU, and
2 others.
two NPCs. Yeah, that you don't even interact with. Well, I mean, you do, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I've come across a lot of them because I think I'm the first in the game out of the 3 of us. But they're nice. I've only played with a couple of people because most of the sections that involve either Chris and Jake, most of the time you won't run into them. However, if you are playing Chris or Jake and you run into Leon, there's a bunch of people doing those ones. Found every time it has yet to fail. And there's also a little bit more Chris. Jake is almost impossible to find. And then there's also certain parts with Ada. We have yet to do one with an Ada player. It's kind of sad, but
Since we're on the topic of that, then what is? I was playing. It was one of Jake's things. I got a notification that someone spawned in as a creature.
oh, Agent Hunt.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Agent Hunt. For those who don't know what Agent Hunt is, it's a new mode to where you play as one of the monsters and you go kill other people.
Are you identified to the player? Like, is it supposed to be really obvious who the creature is to me? Because I see people sign in, but I don't really see a creature labeled as
No,
a.
it doesn't label the creatures from what.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
just you spawn in as a monster, and you just have to kill the other person.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a trade-off. I think if you die, you get kicked out of the game.
Okay.
It's just a nice little kind of PvP thing that they added.
I wasn't sure because it said Agent Hunt. I thought it was like a guy named Hunt, like an agent named Hunt.
This isn't Mission Impossible.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. It's like okay, and then it was then the way you said it, Agent Hunt. It's like oh, people that hunt agents. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
You unlock that once you beat one of the campaign modes. Unfortunately, neither of you have beaten any of theirs fully. I have, so I've done Agent Hunt. It's kind of fun.
Heading for the upper level
It's
of the
entertaining.
bridge. Meet me up on
I make
top.
sure it's off at all times because I don't want to. I'm just trying to get through story as quick as possible. So yeah, Agent Hunt's it's a nice little sub thing that they added. Nothing real major, but it's a nice little touch. So since we're talking about co-op and stuff, Mercenaries mode is back. pretty much exactly the same from the other ones, except now it's you can have up to 4 players, right?
About time.
Yeah, seriously. I liked it. I thought it was really good. You guys?
I didn't get a chance to play it, so I really have nothing to say for the topic.
Well, I tried each of the characters at least once. I only have Chris, Jake, and Leon, and the first level. I haven't gotten. It usually requires A rank to get the next stage, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been able to get that by myself. For some reason, if I manage to live longer than 2 minutes, I can't win. So that's just me.
Yeah.
But it is fun. Though.
Yeah.
I have yet to encounter the boss for the round, so I don't know. You know, like the first rank 5 had the big axe guy.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't encountered that one yet. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm sure it can only get more fun.
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times on online co-op with just some random people. You need more people for the mercenaries mode. It's almost
Okay.
impossible to solo,
Um,
which is kind of annoying, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's when I learned this lesson the hard way that you cannot melee forever. You have stamina now. I guess that's
Oh.
one thing. That's one thing we should have mentioned probably as far as gameplay.
Gameplay. I totally forgot about the upgraded melee system. So let's hurry and touch on that. For those who have played other Resident Evils, at least 4 and 5, remember you could melee enemies if you shot them in like the foot or the leg or get behind them, and you could do a special melee attack. That's pretty much gone.
Well-
You can now just
well,
melee whenever you want.
Yeah, well, first off, take a step back. Before, the only melee you could do was you would swipe your knife
Oh yeah.
horizontally. That's all you could do. And then I think 4 was the one that brought it in where if they're stunned or
Yes.
whatever, then you can do the context sensitive melee. And yeah, like you said, with 6 now it's basically if you're not firing your gun, the other attack. If you're not aiming your gun, attack by default is a melee.
And you have a bar. And the more you use it, the bar drains, and then you're just into a simple, just kind of like wimpy kick.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't notice that until I was, I guess I had meleeed myself out, and then by then I had like 5 zombies on me, and all I was doing was that wimpy kick. It's like I'm trying to kick your shin, pathetically.
And I like the wimpy kick. It's a cool animation, just because it's like so slow and like no effort. It's funny to watch.
Well, yeah, I had it first when it was Leon, and Leon is predominantly a kicker as far as his melee is concerned.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of sad.
Good old weak attack. But the melee, I like the melee system in this one. It saves ammo, and it's just kind of a nice little touch, just because it's fun to watch heads explode when I kick them.
Oh, yeah, one other thing to add as far as the melee is it's also not context sensitive. Like if you're near a table, you'll bash the head into the table.
Environmental.
That was it, yes. And if you're near a wall, it'll bash it into the wall. So, it's an insta kill no matter what, as long as you have not insta kill. It's a melee, like a special melee as long as you get the stun and then hit him. But depending on where you're standing relative to an object, I do like that feature as well as far as the animation is concerned.
Yeah, and I know with Leon, if they're holding a weapon, you can steal it from him and kill him.
Oh no, that's with all of them. I've done it with all of them.
Can you? I've only done with Leon. I haven't done it with. Although I shoot with Chris and Jake most of the time.
It's a counter basically.
Oh yeah.
You have actually that's another one since we're on the topic of melee. Most noted, I think it happens mostly with the ones that have an item to swing at you. You have a split second, literally a split second, to press R1, and so it isn't broken. It is hard to do. Maybe you just have to get the hang of the timing. But yes, if someone's swinging at you with an axe, you will take the axe from them and chop off their head instantly. And I think as far as I've seen, a counter is basically an insta kill.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all are. I haven't. Every counter I've done, they've died instantly. So I don't know if that's just because they have damage on them or it's just instant.
The one I haven't been able to, that I have yet to be able to pull off consistently is the ones that there's certain creatures that will jump at you, and I think if it's in the same sense as a counter, if you react and press R1, you I don't know if you kill them. I think you just at least, prevent the tackle.
Right.
That one I haven't been able to do consistently, so I have to verify all that.
Right.
But I imagine it's the same as the counter system.
Probably. I just shoot him out of the air.
Okay.
That's my counter version for jumping once.
Jump, bang. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so the next thing I want to go into is the differences between all three campaigns other than story. Obviously, their story is going to be a little different. Same basic over story, but little touches in. But the difference in how they play and how they environmentally. So let's start off with Leon. Leon is by far my favorite of the three. He has the darkest feeling atmosphere, and it's I think the closest to what 4 would have been.
Yes, I agree. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's dark. Like even the environment. It's night. It's you have a partner, but you still have that same feeling of solitude like you do in 4. And yeah.
I mean, it's not just the feeling of solitude, just also the environments are a lot more gothic and dark than Chris and Jake. I mean, the first level is kind of, it's just the school, but the second level you go through a cemetery and
and tunnels underground.
And that was really creepy. The third part is you're in like the caverns.
I actually haven't played Chris, so I don't know what his is like.
It's exactly the same as Jake.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got Leon, which is a lot of the closed-in areas, the closed-in dark areas, where Chris playing through most of his is you're dealing with a lot of going from outdoors to indoors, but the indoors are still kind of like buildings, so it's still open.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't played Chris's campaign, so yeah. I mean, if it's the exact same as Jake's, which I have played, it's very urban.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the part where you're out in like the forest, which is not scary. It's just snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris is a lot of you're going from building to building, place to place, because
Yeah, if you Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, character-wise, I mean, Chris is a soldier, Jake's a mercenary, so that's their setting. Whereas Leon is a, send me behind enemy lines and do something by myself. That's awesome kind of guy.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, back to Leon. I also found him to be the hardest and the most ammo conservative one I had to play. Just because you would run into hordes of zombies.
I don't know if it mattered, but because I started Leon's with you, it forced me to keep going as Helena, which I didn't mind, but it didn't. I didn't want to start over with Leon, so I just kept up with Helena.
Oh, I should have let you. Did you go back to chapter mode? Or did you say continue?
Continue.
Oh, if you go to chapter select and just go to chapter 2, you can change.
Oh, okay. So you can go to, as long as you've completed chapter 2 with either of them, you can move on.
Yeah, as long as you get to a chapter, you can just go to chapter select, choose a chapter.
Okay. Good to know. That's good information for our viewers or listeners.
Yes, for those who didn't know how to do that, now you do. So that's enough with Leon. So obviously, Leon done. Now we're gonna go to Chris. Obviously, as Impression says, he didn't do it, but I know Sinister and I did because we did a level together on the live stream. Chris is pretty much 5.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Take 5, move it into 6, and change the story a little. Okay, Chris is lost his memories, and trying to regain them.
Yeah.
Wait, seriously, he lost his memory?
Yeah, at the end of chapter, when you first start him out, it's he doesn't know who he is and what's going on.
Huh.
He's in a bar, drinking himself away.
Yeah, I would say spoilers, but it's not really. I think most of the trailers hinted that he had some memory loss in the beginning.
It's like saying Leon shot the president.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like
Spoiler!
Yeah, spoiler. But it's like if you played 5, and played the DLC for the Nightmare, whatever.
Oh, the one where you go into Spencer's castle?
Yeah. That's where it all ties back into.
Well, that was before 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fast said the memory loss is tried to stop chapter 2, which takes place before chapter 1. But anyway, it's pretty much exactly like 5, other than they updated to, the 6 gameplay. So it's a lot more bright and urban areas.
Did they fix him as far as how they animated him or whatever?
Yes, he looks a lot better. He looks
not,
like
not gigantic biceps.
yeah.
With
No,
the chest.
they mellowed him out. He actually looks normal.
Okay.
He looks like a normal human being.
Yeah, I saw him. I mean, I saw him briefly when I was playing Jake's, but I didn't. I couldn't. You know, I imagined the view from behind his, behind him, third person, would be more telling than a quick glance in a cutscene.
Yeah, they definitely toned him down, which is good because Chris in 5 was ridiculous.
Okay.
Could not aim past those biceps.
So yeah, so 5 or Chris, action oriented, a lot more military, third person style. You fight what are called Javo, and both his and Jake's. We'll talk about those real quick. Javo are basically the Las Plagas people and the Ouroboros virus people from 4 or 5. Except depending on where you shoot them, they can mutate to screw you over.
Yeah, their mutation comes more of a either defense or offensive, because certain ones can spew a flesh and bone shield that cover them up, and then you have to hit certain areas. And there's others that pop into like a flying moth.
I hate those. It's so hard to aim at those in the air.
And lizards.
Yeah, you know what I haven't run into yet are Sprouters.
You ever ran into a Sprouter yet?
Maybe no. I'm pretty sure I haven't.
Oh.
The ones that turn. The ones when you shoot at the head, it turns into like a huge tentacle.
Yeah, I've run into a few of those.
Yeah, no, I've only played up to chapter 2 with Jake and Leon. Should I have, or am I just not there yet?
I'm pretty sure in chapter 2 you should have run into him with Jake.
Jake. Well, I don't remember.
You run into eventually all the time anyway, so I know once you get to chapter 3 they're all over the place in Chris's. So that's Javo, I can't pronounce them right now, for both Jake and Chris. So now we're going to talk about Jake's campaign. I don't know about you impressions, but I like Jake and Sherry as characters, but I didn't care for the gameplay and kind of overall feel of Jake's story mode. How about you?
Are you talking like the story itself or like the character?
No. Like how all three of them have kind of a different kind of base. Where Leon is the closest to like we said 4. Chris is more full blown action. Jake is more of a
He's
you have to run from something at some point.
Yeah, you do. So his is more
run for it.
I mean, I wouldn't want to say Assassin's Creed.
No, not even close.
Just as far as the running, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of the chase scenes. Not a lot, but
later on, they're all over the place. Every level has a giant chase scene.
Okay, then I did get that impression from the trailer. I do remember seeing him like on the move constantly.
Yeah, you're running from something all the time. Which, if you read my review, I thought they could have fixed it by making those instead of having just the scripted chase scenes, have them more random. So like the main guy that's chasing Jake, I thought it would be cooler if if you stay in an area for too long or you're taking too long, he starts showing up and you have to run away from him and hide. Because otherwise, I mean, it's scripted, so I know exactly when he's gonna show up, when I have to run.
Unless you screw up, but it's not hard not to. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to screw up. Sorry. Also with Jake, I mean, because he's a more melee-based character, okay, everyone has a melee. You just press R1. But him, you have a melee option you can switch to that's actually a slot in the gun,
Yeah, that's because it's overpowered.
So, yes. So, yeah, there's that. Basically, at least. So you can run out of ammo and be okay with Jake as long as you're not too far from the guy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I just thought it played similar to Chris, and like I didn't care for all the chase scenes.
For me, I played Jake first, so that might be why my impression of it is like untainted, I guess, because I didn't know what to expect out of 6, and I played Jake first, and then when I went back to Leon, then it was more familiar because of 4, but then again the entire environment changed, so I didn't really think much of it.
Yeah, but Jake is like I said, I like Jake's campaign. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't really care for it as much as the other two. But like I said, I remember when they were promoting it, Jake was supposed to be kind of the Nemesis campaign, where in Resident Evil 3 you always had the Nemesis that would just kind of randomly show up and you had to run from him. That's probably why I was expecting kind of the main guy they have chasing Jake just kind of randomly show up and chase you around, because that's what they did with Nemesis, and I like what they did with Nemesis.
Maybe they just built, your expectations were built up too high because of that.
Probably, and it's very unlike 3. This is very linear, so. Whereas Resident Evil 3 had to backtrack a lot, so it allowed for more of him to just kind of randomly show up in an area and you run from him. Whereas 6 is you have a destination and you go there. And then it takes you to the next part of the level. So that's all 3 of them. There is a 4th, which is Ada. I haven't played Ada. From what
How do you
I've
unlock
heard,
her?
you have to beat all 3, I think I read, or you have to beat at least Leon and Chris.
Okay, that makes sense.
From what I've heard, Ada is almost exactly like Leon, almost, except you have a crossbow. But
You can't wait to use that. It is always fun. I do remember enjoying Ada's story in 4 a lot,
Yeah,
and sadly missed out on having her in 5. So
yeah.
Yep.
So can't really comment on Ada.
Nope.
So that's all. Those are the main campaigns. I think that's really all that is in 6 that we can talk about. Is there anything else that you guys want to bring up?
not without spoiling anything.
Yeah, without spoilers.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, that's all I can think of. Yeah, I don't know about you, Sinister.
Pretty much we've covered most of the game without really spoiling too much.
Yeah, and this game has tons of spoilers, by the way, viewers. It's hard to talk about some of the later stuff because there's a couple of other tweaks they do later in the game, but they're plot based, so it's a little harder to get into it, or some of the character details. But most of the gameplay we've talked about the gameplay, and Resident Evil 6 is a solid game. So now we're gonna score it. For those who don't know about the changes we did here, instead of giving it a point-based value, we now have a new system where we're basically going to say if it's a buy, a rent, or a pass. Buying obviously means we think you should go buy this game. It's worth $60. Renting means it's good, but maybe wait till it's on half off on Steam or something, or just rent from GameFly. And then pass is obviously this game sucks. It's not worth playing, or it's just not something we would play.
Maybe we should add another rating. It's like buy later when it's dropped in price.
I just lump that in the rent.
Okay.
Yeah. Rent for now and then buy it later.
Yeah. I mean, they're worthy games. But anyway, those are the new, that's how we changed the rating system instead of giving it a number. So for me, Resident Evil 6 is definite buy. I love it. I always try to find, ways to play it. And, it has a lot of replay value, so that's my reasoning behind the buy. Sinister?
I'm saying I'm a buy. If I had the money, I would probably have bought the game, but I started out renting it, and just the fact that there's replay value, and just also the fact that with the co-op, you can also bring friends in to play with you, and it's the same thing over and over, but it'll bring, different gameplay because a new friend.
And impressions.
Definitely buy. There's high replay value, but also because there are 3 campaigns, 6 different characters to play, plus the added content, that already makes up for the price in itself. If you aren't the biggest Resident Evil fan, then I'd say give it a couple months and then buy it when it's a little cheaper. But definitely it's something you want to have because the amount of time you invest in it, renting it would be worse on your money.
Right. And if for those who didn't read my review at least, I'd highly, just as kind of a 4th rating, I would highly suggest that if you did not like Resident Evil 5 and you thought that was, taking Resident Evil in the wrong way and you did not like it, do not play 6. It's just, you're just going to waste your time. It's exactly like 5. So, sorry, but, that's the route they went with this one. Otherwise, like I said, bye. So that's it. Thanks, guys. Next week we will be doing Guild Wars not Guild Wars Part 2. Dishonored. that will be just Sinister and myself. Maze is going on a little break for a couple of weeks. He won't be back for a while. I don't think until Assassin's Creed, right?
I mean, impressions. You said
Or
Maze.
Impressions, excuse me. Yeah, Maze
yeah.
is dead too. It's not Sinister, but yeah, Impressions will be gone. I think you come back Assassin's Creed, right?
November. Yeah, I'll be back in time for that.
So we won't see him for a while.
I don't know if I'll finish Assassin's Creed in time, but you know.
Yeah, he'll be there for the review though. We used to talk about it. So it'll just be Sinister and me doing the next, at least Dishonored, and then the next one, since I've always said it's going to be Guild Wars, the Part 2, which is going to cover the later game and some of the replay stuff and higher level content. That will be Lizzie, Sinister, and myself. So until next time, check out the sites for our written portion of reviews and subscribe up top. And thanks for listening. And that's it. Take it easy, people.